Welcome to the Preeminence Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Matthew J. Peters, founder of Ascend. Be sure to grab your ultimate guide to preeminence at preeminence.tv. Today we're talking about hoarding your past. So tune in, listen up, and get ready to take a focused action on your message, mission, and presence to create accelerated results starting right now. I had the unique opportunity of living with a hoarder. Now, this is not anybody in my immediate family. I just want you to understand that when you live with someone that's a hoarder, their way of living really affects your way of living. And this was for a short period of time. It wasn't for months or anything like that. But in the time that I was there, I realized that their stuff was it was controlling them. And being in that place, I felt so constricted. I felt so cluttered in my mind. I felt like I couldn't think, that there was so much baggage and so much weight there. It was literally hard to move where they had paths through their house. And I was there, I think it was the second day I was there, that I thought to myself, you know what? I really don't care what they think about me. I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to clean all their crap up. Literally, I was on the second floor. I couldn't take it anymore. There was boxes and boxes of sheets and of clothing and of bedding and towels and it was ridiculous. It was crazy. All these boxes of things all over the place. Toys that were never opened. So many boxes that were never opened. Bought on sales. And I could not understand how this person thought. And I thought, you know what? What's the worst they're going to do? Kick me out. I don't care if they kick me out. This is a weird situation. So I woke up in the morning and I just looked around me. And I found an empty box, and I started working with that. I opened the closets, and the closets had the space in it, and they had racks in there. It was a relatively clean house. It wasn't dirty. It was just there was piles of stuff, and there was no longer a place to put it. This is with a basement and with a garage. The inside of the house was full too. So I just went to work, and I spent the next probably 5 hours cleaning. And what I did was they had all these totes and bins and stuff with, I think I found there was 52 pairs or sets of sheets. There was 60-some towels, and this is where two people live. Old towels, old bits of clothes, cut out pieces of things, scraps that they could use later. Magazines, stacks of magazines from a decade. And I just went through and I actually had a box of things to throw out. They were things that were broken, things that were never going to be used again, old magazines that would never be read, even though that they had earmarked them and stuck things in there to read later. So I just made it my thing I was going to do. About halfway through, they came up and they said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm cleaning up." And they said, "Oh, you don't need to do that." I said, "Well, if my kids are going to be here and other kids are going to be here to play, I think it's something that, I want to have them, give them some space to work. Give them some space to play so they feel comfortable playing here." I said, "Okay." So I went back and I just finished up. I literally filled their closets with nice, neat stacks of their things. I didn't throw any of their stuff out that had any value to it. Their clothes, I put in drawers, I put in boxes, I labeled them for them so they were out of the way. And so if I ever visit there again, I knew that things would be put away. And if there were things that were added, I would know that they were added, and I would talk to the person about why they were added. I'm at a point in my life, I really don't care what people think about me and the way I live. And I realize that hoarding is a symptom of what's going on inside. Obviously, we know that something's a little different with people who feel like they need to keep every scrap of paper, every bill that's come for the last 5-10 years in the envelope and put a sticker on it so they put a date on when they opened it. That's kind of odd. And so after talking with this person, I didn't talk about hoarding at all. They brought it up. And they said, I hoard these things because when I was a child, we didn't have anything. And my father lost his store. I think it was like in a hurricane or a fire or something like that. And we lived with nothing for a long time. And when I was young, we didn't have anything. And so this was their way as an adult of saying, I will never be without again. I will always have enough. Matter of fact, I'm going to protect myself with walls around me of things that will protect me from the outside world. And, as someone that is up in their years, they had ample time to work through this. They actually have bought books and read books about hoarding. They understand that they have a problem. They know that there's medications, there's doctors they could talk to, there's people they call in, and within a week, everything would be organized. Things would be, think about all those towels that could have been given to the poor, or sets of sheets, or the toys that could be given to children that will actually play with them. I say all this because I want you to think about, I addressed this myself today, and I just woke up today and I had that, the sickness. I just wanted to get this stuff out of my life. So I went through, got rid of every piece of clothes that I'm not wearing, all these things I had in a closet. I pared down my stuff again. I literally had pared myself, if you think about 100%, down to about 30% of my things over the last 2 years. And then today, I just went through my closet and got rid of probably another 30%. So I'm down to very little. I was traveling for the last several weeks. I realized, traveling out of a suitcase, that I only had to wear 4 different things. I just washed things as they got dirty. And I realized, I only need 5 shirts, 2 pairs of pants, 2 shorts. You have your underwear and socks. You don't need much. And here we are, we're hoarding our past as a protective mechanism. Yes, we have the physical things around us that we're hoarding that we could just give away to, I gave away a $300 coat, which, I've had for 20 years. I've never worn because it was too big. I gave it away. I was like, well, someday I'll just sell it, or I'll give it to a relative. I'm like, no, I'm giving it away today. Fancy shirts worth hundreds of dollars, giving it away. I'm not going to wear it again. That's not me anymore. I'm giving it away. So we have the things that we're hoarding, the tangible things, but we have the stuff in our mind that we're hoarding, things that were given to us. Sometimes we feel that someone gives us a gift, we're supposed to hang on to it forever. Someone gives us a greeting card, we're supposed to hang on to it forever as a keepsake. When people give you things, if you're like the Dalai Lama, I love seeing what the Dalai Lama does in line. Someone will give him something, and he's like, oh, thank you. He acknowledges the gift, and the next person in line, he gives it to them. What a great way to live. Matter of fact, if you ever see, I have a bracelet, and that bracelet has some writing on it. It's a prayer. And that was given to me by a dear friend of mine who it was given to them by the Dalai Lama. They went to meet the Dalai Lama, and the Dalai Lama had these trinkets that he was giving to people. And he had these bracelets for men, and he ran out of the bracelets for women, so he gave this woman, friend of mine, this bracelet for a man, put it on her and blessed it. And she'd had it for several years, and she gave it to me. And she gave something else to another gentleman. And what I see in this individual is living with an open mind and an open hand. I want you to think about that. On your path to preeminence, people are going to gift you things. On your path to this moment in your life, you've been gifted a lot of things, and a lot of things you have no business hanging on to. What do I mean by that? There's a lot of things that you're giving brain power to and emotions to that were never yours. They were gifts given to you by your parents, by the school system, by your churches, by the government. All these systems have been designed to manage people, to manage you, to protect you. And we're not living in a society anymore that we need to worry about survival, at least in the Western culture. Anywhere where you're living on enough, you have enough to live on, you have enough to go out to have dinner once in a while, you have enough to go to a movie, you have enough. You're not worried about your day-to-day survival. If you're listening to me and that is not your case, where you aren't in a survival mode, you have been given a ton of ideas. And if you think about this, I say a ton. A lot of times the people in America say a ton when they just mean a lot. But literally the weight of the ideas that people have given you about your diet. Think about all the things in the past. Your mother cooked you these things, or it's grandma's recipe from the old country. So we have that, even though you don't realize that they designed that because they needed to have a lot of fat, or that was what they had in their household, or that's what was cheap at that time. And over the generations, you think that that's what you're supposed to eat because that's what grandma made, because it's been handed down from generations. And guess what? It's killing you. But it's a part of your diet and your custom and your traditions. So you hang on to it, don't you? You have no business doing that. You've come into this life. You're inhabiting this body, and you have been given the gift of life by two other humans that came together to form you. All their traditions, all of their beliefs, all their religious practices are your choice. You have been given the choice of not living in survival. You've been given the choice to decide what you want to believe, what you think is right to eat for your body, what you want to practice as your religion if you want to have a religion. Yet we have so much baggage. We have the tons of ideas that have been handed down to us for our protection, to remain part of the tribe, to be managed easily by a government or by a church or something that keeps people coming back, keeps people docile. You know, Jesus is a great figure for the American man who was very masculine and warlike, to make him Jesus-like, make him very compassionate and very calm and very peaceful and wise, and to literally emasculate the population of men. Now, I'm not saying that every man has to be warlike. I'm just saying if you want to control a person, you put figures out there as who they should model. And there's a lot of terrible models out there in the media. And we've adapted a lot of those. Really, it's been a perversion of what is right, what is truth, what is human. I'm saying this all because we have been hoarding way too many ideas that are not our own. I want you to live with an open mind and an open heart and open hands. Your heart, your emotions, those are yours. That's 100% in your control. No matter what goes on around you, your emotions are 100% in your control. Your mind, what do you choose to believe? What do you want to practice with your life? What do you want to do with that body that your mind controls? And your hands, the tangible objects that come into your life that you have the opportunity to purchase or to be handed freely by a relative or a loved one or a friend or through society. Someone just gives you things. You do not have to consume everything that's handed to you. You do not have to hang on to those things from your past. Your future is only going to be a replication of what you're living right now in your present and your past. It's an echo of your past, and it's a replication of your present. That is what your future is. If you want to have a unique, brilliant future that you're in control of, you need to do that right now, and you're literally just going to be replicating that into your future. The things that you want to create in your future, you need to have the seeds right now, and you need to let them germinate and grow. You need to have the soil of an open space where you're not filled with all the clutter of everybody else's ideas, all the stuff that's been handed down to you physically and mentally and emotionally, telling you this is how you should live, this is what your relationships are supposed to be like, this is who you should date, this is how you're supposed to raise your children. This is the food you're supposed to prepare if you're going to be a part of our tribe. If you're going to remain a part of our tribe and our family, this is what you need to do. That's a bunch of BS. I'll just say it's a bunch of bullshit. All that stuff that you think that you're supposed to do, that is man's idea of how to manage people. I'm just saying it as I see it. I've been the one for years and years living in a box that I constructed myself saying, oh yes, I'm supposed to be a kind man. I'm supposed to be nice to everyone. I'm supposed to help out everyone because I'm supposed to do that for free because that's what Jesus would do. And Jesus is a phenomenal example. I have nothing against Jesus or Buddha or Muhammad or anybody. I'm just saying it's your choice. You can drop all of that stuff. The people that I lived with for a short time that had all this clutter in their house, that were hoarders, and I'm not being ridiculous, they were literally hoarders, like paths through rooms so you could get from one room to another. What would happen to them, to their body, if they were gone on vacation and they came home and their house had burned down, it was ashes? They have insurance. They have their online bank accounts. They have their hard drives that are, their cloud. They have all those things they could continue. They could buy new clothes. All that stuff that's been around them, it's a facade. It's the Maya that they talk about in the Latin American cultures of this. It's the shadow. We don't need those things. You don't need those traditions. It's great to recognize our traditions, but you don't need them to survive anymore. Your action step on your path to preeminence is I want you to create your own traditions. I want you to form your own beliefs. I want you to have the relationship of your dreams. I want you to choose from your past what is worthy of your life from here on out, and what is no longer worthy. What have you been doing just to satisfy your mother, your father, your spouse, your significant other, to look a certain way, to your children, to in your marketing? All that stuff is ephemeral. It's BS, and if it's not getting you to what you need to truly be, drop it. Let it go. Figuratively, and just as a word picture, if it were in that house and it burnt down, you would still have you. And you'd have a much clearer version of who you are. There's a movie that I saw recently that a lot of people didn't like, but I liked it. It's with Mark Wahlberg, and it was called The Gambler. Pretty violent movie, but he was a man with a gambling addiction, and he actually would win, and he would want to lose it all because he was wealthy. His mother had money, his family had money, and he got to a point where he had nothing. He was going to risk his life on either have nothing or win and pay off debts. And he got to that point where he had absolutely nothing but the shirt on his back. And then he knew he was truly himself, alone by himself, and that he would survive and he'd figure it out. You're going to figure it out. You don't need anybody else's traditions. You don't need anybody else's religion. You don't need to live by anybody else's system. It's your choice. I look forward to talking with you more about these types of things tomorrow. This daily podcast is all about you becoming the preeminent voice in your marketplace. So take the consistent and necessary action each and every day on what you've learned over the last few minutes. When, not if, when you're ready to take your business, your organization, your name, your brand, and your commitment to the level of preeminence, head on over to preeminence.tv where you can download your own copy of the Ultimate Guide to Preeminence, enroll in the Elevation program, and join us on one of our next live events. If you're not subscribed, simply visit iTunes, Stitcher, or Google Play right now and click subscribe. Until tomorrow, make today and each and every day count towards creating preeminence in your space and a legacy that matters.